This is the Sig Tango6T, the LPVO chosen by the US Army for their designated marksman rifles. And we're going to see how this $2,000 Sig Sauer LPVO compares against this Monstrum, which costs less than $200. This video is sponsored by Monstrum Tactical, but honestly, how is the Panzer going to compare to a Sig? What do you think? Put some skin in the game and post your predictions in the comments section before we get started. And at the end of the video, let me know if any of the testing surprised you. Alright, let's start by comparing what you get with each optic by looking at what you get in each box. Most premium optics don't come with much in their box other than the scope, but the Tango 6 comes with a full range of accessories and a mount. The Panzer is a budget optic, but comes with almost as many accessories as the Tango 6 for considerably less. Looking at these optics side by side, they certainly look different, but comparing their specs, the differences are far less pronounced. Same tube size, same objective lens, about the same eye relief, the Panzer is slightly lighter. Let's take a closer look at these LPVOs, starting with the Tango 6. Now the first thing you notice is its matte bronze finish, which they're calling flat dark earth, and this was specified by the US Army. This scope comes pre-mounted on the Sig Sauer Alpha mount. The Tango 6 has a unique locking illuminator with 11 levels of brightness, 2 of them are night vision compatible. And the turrets? Nice, that's very loud. Tactile positive, really clear clicks. The magnification ring and diopter focus are smooth, and it comes with a clip-on throw lever. Now let's take a look at the Panzer. Very clean lines and design in a flat black, but note the unique tank tread inspired design in the turret caps, magnification ring, and diopter. And even on the illumination knob, which offers 6 levels of brightness with an off in between each setting. Let's take a look at those turrets. Alright, they're audible. They're not the loudest I've tested, but they're certainly audible. And they are tactile positive, though a bit mushy and light. The diopter and magnification ring turn smoothly. The magnification ring comes with a fin that can be swapped out for a throw lever. The Panzer comes with deluxe offset mounts, while not as bougie as the Sig Alpha, also has lightning cuts, recoil lugs, and torque screws. We're looking through the Tango 6 at 1 power to see if there is any fisheye distortions around the outer edge as we move the scope around. The image view is crisp and bright with just a faint warm tint. The Sig Tango is known for having daylight bright illumination, and even at 1 power, it doesn't disappoint. It is still quite visible in broad daylight. The red dot is even visible in this cluttered background. Looking through the Panzer at 1 power, it too has a crisp, bright image, and no noticeable fisheyeing around the outer edges. The Panzer offers 6 levels of illumination on its center circle. The red dot is visible in broad daylight, even in this cluttered background, though not quite as bright as the Sig Tango. Zooming up to its maximum of 6 power, we're looking at a hilltop 1,400 yards away, and I can make out a trail marker sign at the top of the hill, which is about the size of an IPSC target at this distance. Also note that the first focal plane reticle has scaled up and enlarged to show us its long-range stadia. We have both scopes at the range, and we're looking at reference targets 100 yards away at 1 power. Now I'm going to zoom it up to its maximum of 6 power, and we're going to see how much we lose in terms of brightness and clarity. Actually, it's not bad. Surprisingly, I'm seeing a bit more chromatic aberration in the Tango 6 than the Panzer. There's a more pronounced purple fringe around the target frames on either side of our reference target in the Tango 6, whilst there's a little bit of green fringe on the frames in the Panzer's view. As for their eye box, they're both pretty good for LPVOs, but the Tango 6 is a bit more forgiving. Let's move up to 50 yards and look at those reference targets in greater detail. Both scopes are at 6 power, but at 50 yards, the differences between them are a little more noticeable. In the Tango 6, despite distortion around the outer edges, the reference target is sharper and clearer than in the Panzer. While small and faint, I can make out a pair of .22 caliber holes on the paper target on the bottom left through the Tango 6. That level of detail is just not visible through the Panzer. This difference is further demonstrated in the Air Force resolution chart on the bottom right. With the Tango, I can make out vertical and horizontal lines down to element 1 in group -1. With the Panzer, the smallest set of lines I can see are element 6 in group -2, one element less fine than the Tango 6. Alright, before we get started, I'd like to thank Monstrum Tactical for sponsoring this video and for lending me these LPVOs to test and evaluate. And for those of you who might be a little suspicious that perhaps they had sent a defective model of this Tango 6T that they picked up on eBay, well, I checked. I borrowed this Tango 6T from a friend in law enforcement and compared his personal LPVO to the one that Monstrum sent me, and they are the exact same LPVO. So Monstrum did send me a legit Tango 6T to compare against their Panzer 1-6. And how do they compare? Well, the best LPVO is most definitely the Tango 6T. Come on. You know, both of them are wonderful LPVOs, and certainly the Panzer held up its own surprisingly well against the Tango 6T. It's just that in every demonstrable category, just about, the Tango 6T still outperformed the Panzer, which for many of you probably is not all that surprising. Now, they are very similar. Both of them are 1-6 first focal plane LPVOs. They have very similar reticles. Both have daylight bright illumination, which is a bit surprising for the budget Panzer here. Not so much for the Sig Tango6 though. But yeah, in so many categories that I tested, the Tango 6T still outperformed the Panzer. Now, both of them have lifetime warranties, but in terms of reputation of durability and reliability, you'd have to give it to the Tango 6T because it is the LPVO that the U.S. Army uses. So I don't think this is used by any military that I know of. Not that I know for sure, but you know, let me know if it is used by somebody. So just in terms of reputation alone, you probably have to give it to the Tango 6T. Now, both are actually surprisingly very flat and clear optically, though again, the Tango 6T is that much flatter and that much sharper, even though it had more chromatic aberration, and that's one of the few ways that the Panzer actually did better than the Tango. Despite the chromatic aberration, I was still able to discern finer detail and resolution with the Tango 6T, and it was brighter in low light. The biggest difference, you probably know this already, is in terms of price. If you've looked on Amazon, the Tango 6T goes for about $2,200. The Panzer goes for about $150. So the Tango is about 15 times more expensive than the Panzer. Is it 15 times better? That I'm not so convinced about. If you gave me $2,000 and told me I could pick either of these two, surprisingly I would pick the Panzer, and I would use the money left over to buy body armor, night vision, and more training. So I think I would still be better off than just buying the more expensive LPVO, but that's how I roll. Let me know what you think in the comments section. And if you're interested in picking up either of these LPVOs, and I think, you know, both of them would be good choices depending on your criteria, I'll include product links as well as more information in my full write-up at moondogindustries.com. Check out that article, use those links, and help support this channel. And another easy way to support this channel is by simply hitting that like button. You're still watching the video at this point, so it probably means you liked it. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It just takes a second. It's absolutely free to do that. And, you know, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. You be safe out there. Moondog, out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.